Just real quickly, you probably know who we are. My name is Chris. I'm joined today with Carrie and Nicole, and the three of us are really doing our best to bring to life the Canvas agreements and the levels of Canvas. Like, they're on paper as a one-dimensional form, but we're really trying to make it into three-dimensional. We're trying to bring it alive. We're trying to show teachers the worth of that, the text, and why we want teachers and staff to understand the importance of the agreements and how we're trying to really come up with a unifying, similar experience for our students across all grade levels and across all schools. So that's really what we're doing today. I am going to skip all the way down to number 29 because that's where we're starting today. I'm not going to go ahead and do full presentation, but I will for just a moment. Today, we're going to feature Canvas Studio. If you've never heard of Canvas Studio, you've never seen Canvas Studio, you are in the right spot today because you'll get a chance to briefly, we'll show you how it works, what it looks like. And then my friend John's joining us today. He's going to give a chance to share how he uses it in the classroom and how he's using it with his own students and his staff, which I think is fantastic. And so we'll also do the same formula, which is basically, we'll do some of the information up front. John's going to share as well. And then we'll have some time for Q&A specific to Studio. And then afterwards, after we're finished stopping a recording, we'll just have some Q&A for just Canvas overall. And if you want to talk about the gold medal, please don't. That makes me sad. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hit escape. And what I want to do is kind of get into this part right here. And Nicole is going to ask me to make my screen a little larger. So I'm going to. All of our links are going to be on this slide. And maybe Nicole or one of you, if you don't mind, just put the slides in the chat. So feel free to hang out and watch us. We'll demonstrate, we'll show, we'll talk about. But as far as how you do some of the things, if I go too fast or we don't mention something, we did our best to put those links in these slides so that you'll get a chance to see those in a few minutes. So I want to talk about just three real brief questions with regards to what Studio is, and simply, what is Studio? How do I use it? And why should I use it? And those are really just the three questions I'm going to kind of tackle kind of briefly for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and have John share what he has been doing with it. So as far as what Canvas Studio is, I want you to think of probably what I think is probably the most frustrating question that I might deal with as a teacher, which is, how do I know my students have engaged in a video I wanted them to watch? And so you can throw it in the chat if you want to, or just voice it. But basically, the question I always ask myself when my students are going to watch some video, how do I know they've engaged in the video? How do I know they even learned from the video? So I don't know if anybody had a response or throw it in the chat, but how do you know that your students have engaged or watched the video or even learned something from the video? We're going to say probably, I don't know, really is the answer. You have no guarantee that your students, especially in virtual world, are watching the video at home, responding, answering questions, or even if they engage in the video, you don't know. But here's the cool thing about Canvas Studio. The Canvas Studio is this tool that allows you to use videos to promote engagement and then to be able to measure that engagement in some way, whether it be students responding to questions or using the analytics, which John will show you a little bit later, but to really see who's watched the video, for how long have they watched the video, and did they see the whole video? So Canvas Studio, when I say what is Studio, think of it as a really great engagement tool kind of baked into Canvas. You don't have to go out and go grab another tool. It's already exists in Canvas. Now, if you are familiar with Edpuzzle, which is another tool outside of Canvas, Edpuzzle also uses videos and allows you to ask questions and kind of measure engagement. So Canvas Studio has some similarity to Edpuzzle. It's just not the exact same thing. So I don't want you walking away today going, ooh, Canvas Studio is the exact replacement for Edpuzzle. It's not, but it has a lot of really good components. Nicole?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in here and say, and I was trying to find the exact fact or statistic, and I'm having a hard time finding it. But the act of doing this quick call and response, immediate feedback while watching a video, like you would do with Edpuzzle or like you can do with Canvas Studio, is one of the highest efficiency things that you can do in the classroom in terms of like information sticking into the brain of your students. So it's definitely something we want to see used more.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I love it. I mean, we could sit and talk, teachers talk and talk and talk. And I love the idea of bringing in a video and but being able to say, how can I measure whether that engagement actually takes place for my students? So I love it. So the picture you see right now is, I'm not going to watch the video, but it's just a video that I embedded in a discussion. I could have my students watch the video. I could have them respond in the discussion, but unless I ask really good questions to elicit information from them, I don't know if they watched the video or they've copied their friends' responses. So this is just an example of me putting in a video in, but without using Canvas Studio, I can't really show or determine who's watched it, how long have they watched it and engaged. So that is Canvas Studio really quickly in a nutshell. It's a really great engagement tool that exists in Canvas, and you use video, whether you create your own or you go ahead and borrow videos from YouTube, it doesn't really matter. That's the power of Studio, is that you can use those videos. The next question I really want to ask is just really, how do I use it? And then why would I use it? So really quickly, I'm going to just demonstrate how you would use it. And so for every teacher in our school district who's using Canvas, you can go and log into Canvas, and on the bottom left-hand corner, it'll say Studio. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here where it says Studio on the bottom left. Matter of fact, I'm going to make my screen a little bit larger. And when I do that, it's going to bring up the videos that I have already, as a teacher, either created or brought in from YouTube. I do not have near as many as my friend John does, or some other teachers, because they've been using it for a lot longer in the classroom than I have. But this is a great place to start. So if you're going to create a video, or you want to create an environment where your students are going to be asked questions, you want to start with just simply going to Studio. That's your starting point. And then from there, on the top right-hand corner, I can either choose to record my own video, which John's going to show you. He does an awful lot of webcam and screen capturing. I love it. Or if I don't want to screen capture a video for my students to watch, I could go ahead and click add. And once I'm there, I can choose to go ahead and upload a video. So for example, I might have a Zoom session this morning that I recorded, a live teaching moment with my students, but maybe so my students didn't show up. I can upload that Zoom recording here in Studio, and then I can ask some questions for follow-up, just to make sure my students have watched me speaking about what we're talking about this morning. Or I can go ahead and grab a YouTube video. And in this case, I went and grabbed this one, which is basically, why does water turn into ice? Grab the video link, come back here to Canvas, to Studio, and then just paste it in. And once I paste that in and hit add, you'll notice that the video shows up for you. And here it is right here. Why does water turn to ice? Now, nothing fancy has happened so far, but this is where the magic of Studio does take place. And like I mentioned real quickly, I'm just going to show you how to create one, and then I'm going to have John go ahead and really demonstrate what it looks like and what he's been doing with it. But once I bring in my video, whether I capture it with screencasting or whether I use a YouTube video, I can go ahead and click on the three little dots and I can create a quiz. And that's the beauty of Studio, is it's not just a video to watch, it's actually asking students. And I'm not going to go through the whole process, but I'm just going to quickly do this. So this is just going to be my test video. Hit get started. What's awesome about Canvas and Studio is I can go ahead and move my marker wherever I want. And then I can hit the little plus symbol, and I can ask my students 3 types of questions: multiple choice, true, false, or multiple answers. And you can choose whichever question you want to ask your students. And the other thing too I love about multiple answers is you can actually even shuffle the answers. So you have actually almost 4 question types. So real simple, a video that I either uploaded or embedded from YouTube. I'm going to ask a couple questions for my students to follow along so that I know how they're responding to my questions, whether it be for a quiz or just simply, are you tracking the video I've given to you? And once I've chosen my video question, I'll go ahead and hit discard. Then my video is completed, and I'll show you that over here, when I go back to Studio, you'll notice that there's a little rocket ship right here. This little rocket ship indicates that I've created a Studio Canvas quiz that I can now go ahead and take that video and embed it in a discussion. So for example, in this case, my students have the exact same video I showed you a few minutes ago, but the difference is this time I can actually have my students watch the video, and then I've actually posted a couple questions where they'll respond to. You don't have to do it in a discussion. You could do it as an assignment if you want to, or if you just want to simply go ahead and put it in a page, you can. But I want to show you just real quickly the advantage. If I create a graded quiz, a Canvas graded discussion, or a Canvas assignment, I can actually capture my students' work in my gradebook. And so that's the advantage to me doing it an extra step, adding this video into a graded discussion, or add this video into a Canvas assignment as an external tool. Like I said, we're not going to go through all the details, but we have those links posted on our slides. And then, so again, the beauty of this is I know who's watched the video. I know that I could have some questions responded to by students. I can have them respond in a discussion to the video. I can even have them go ahead and add comments. And then because I put it in my discussion, I can have them even engage further in the discussion about the video as well. So that's that's as far as I want to go. Again, we could go into how to get into it and all that. The last thing I want to show you really briefly for all of you at home who are watching, like Chris, I want to know more. I want to learn more. On the left-hand side, it says help. If you click on the help button in Canvas, you'll scroll all the way down where it says Training Services Portal. So any teacher in their school district can click on the Training Services Portal. You do have to go ahead and authorize, but here's awesome about this. I love this part. Once you're authorized, these are all of the training videos that Canvas has produced for our school district or any district that's paying for Canvas. And then way at the bottom, down the very bottom, you hopefully will see Canvas Studio. So there is an actual great little module to learn more about Canvas Studio and more in depth. But that's as far as I want to go right now. And again, we put our links in here on how to do it and how to get into deeper. But what I do right now is I want to bring in John. So I'm going to hit stop share. And John, you can share your screen. But John, you and I have talked about how you've used Canvas Studio in your classroom, and you have some fantastic examples. And I'd love for you to share with us.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if they're fantastic, but this is.
Oh, they are. I love
them. This is how I've started out using it. So I'm going to share my screen. Nicole, let me know if it's that you can see that. Can you see that stuff? Yes. Okay. All right. So here we go. So this. I was just thinking this would be a good graph. You could see which different hat I'm wearing each day. But for me, what I like to do, so I just started out kind of basic with Canvas Studio. So what I do is I just hit I do morning messages. And so instead of doing emails to my my kids every day or their parents or whatever, I seriously record a morning message and I try and get them to watch it. And so you get, like, I was like, I could graph how many different times I'm wearing the red hat as opposed to the blue hat or different things like that. But I also have used it. So I use it for that. That's my first basic use. And I just go up here and I hit the screen record button and I just do a webcam capture and I just talk, right? For 2 to 4 minutes, it looks like. And boy, I'm on the long side. And now that I look at it a little bit. And then the other thing that we use it for is I just got a request today, actually, Chris, so that we got a request for what we talked about yesterday with video analytics. So I'm going to make a video today for my staff. And so that's actually where I'm going to take you first. So I'm going to go up to this My Library and the little hamburger up there. Is that what you call it, Chris? The hamburger? Is that what you, and so then I'm going to go to our Flex Online school staff. And we build a library out. And these are just from our principal, well, Paul Autumn. But what he does is we're going to go into one of them. And so he wanted people to use this YouTube video. And so what you can see here is you can see where people have made comments on it, and it has it in the timeline. So if you click that, you can see kind of where they made their comment and different things like that. But so there's the details to the video. And so then there's the comments, but then there's also the insights, which I think is super important. So those are all the teachers at Flex Online School. So if you click on mine, you can see that I actually went through and watched the entire video as shown by the graph. If you click on, I was trying to think of, let's see, I think Justin, I don't know Justin, but he seems like kind of like the me of high school teachers at Flex. And if you click him, you can see that he's only watched this little part of it right there. And so if you click around, you can kind of see the engagement. So one of the things that he did at the staff meeting was he showed this, and then I've known Paul for a little bit, so he usually uses me for an example. So then I look like I got a little gold star in a circle because I watched the entire video. But then if he clicks on Justin, you'd be like, oh, Justin, you need to watch the video a little bit more. And so anyway, it gives a good idea of just how to do different things. Now, what I did find out, and we're just not going to show it for student privacy examples, is at Flex Online School, sometimes it's hard to get attendance, and I don't like to click a Google form and those kind of things. So it gives instant feedback on if I'm going to tell my students moving forward, starting next week, that they should at least watch a little part of my video. And if they watch a little part of my video during the day, that way that'll be my check to make sure that they were attending online school for the day. And so that was one of the things that I'm going to do in 2021 moving forward that's a little bit different. But so that's one of the features of that one. And also, if we go to Flex Online School Staff here, let me see. So those are just YouTube videos, but the other thing that we have, and I'm going to go back to mine, is I will also go up to instead of using the webcam, I'll use the screen capture button. And so today I've been assigned, and I make videos that are for little things like, this is creating rating, like as questions come up about Canvas, I like to make videos to just kind of show the explanation, and then we post it onto a site so that it is all there. And so I'm going to go to my courses real quick, sorry, and I'm going to go to my Flex Online Staff. So we actually post all of our Canvas help videos. These are the elementary ones here, so that if you have something like you want to view feedback in Canvas, you can click this, and then you can go in, and then there's the video for you as you go on. So we've built a little resource bank. And so one of the things that we do is, as we get questions, we think that other people are going to have the same questions. So like getting a shareable link from Google Docs to submit in Canvas, just those kind of things. So that's actually made for students, but we put it in there so that teachers can share it through the studio with their students as they go on. So not only do we make videos that help teachers, but we try and make videos that help students, but we also share them out in the Canvas studio so that other teachers can use them, and then they don't have to, not like 5 different teachers don't have to make the same video about, how to get a shareable link in a Google Doc and things like that.
Hey, John.
Go ahead.
I know that yesterday you showed me how to get your students to watch the video. You posted that video, that morning announcement. Where did you put that morning video announcement so they can first go see that?
Sure. So then what we found out is that if you go to my calendar, and forgive my calendar's usually filled out, but I was being lazy today and filling it out on Wednesday. It's usually all filled out. But I put my morning messages right here, so that on the calendar, and I just post them in there. And so you can see on there, without doing too much with students, you can see that some of my students will post in like happy 2021 and different things like that. And I can actually go to the insights, and the same way that I just showed you with teachers, I can click on my students and see how far they've watched in the video as well. So those are posted. In fact, here, I'll show my last month calendar. So my last month calendar kind of looks like that. And so the morning messages are right here every single day, so that they have what they need for the day, right? I just try and give them, it's like our little, pep talk at 8:30 in the morning for them. And I always just figured they need those kind of things. And so that's where we post them. And it's pretty handy to do those things. So,
and for your attendance, is it kind of like a deduction of information? Like I can look at my insights or my analytics, and I can determine who watched the video versus and then comparing that to my roster effectively. And then you just say these 3 students didn't watch the video. Is that kind of how you do that part?
Right. So when I kind of looked at the analytics the other day, I was, it's like 2021, so you're trying something new. And I looked at the analytics and I was like, wow, a lot of people have been watching my video. This is great. And what I have been doing is I've been going into, we usually say that they have to log in, but we've noticed that in our analytics that the analytics for Canvas sometimes don't instantly update for attendance purposes. Right. And so then I'm trying to kind of like, oh, that person hasn't logged in for like 3 days. But then if you go to the math module, it's like a hunt, and it's like I have to hunt, and I don't want to hunt for 20 minutes. So I'm just going to send out a blanket thing that says, I want you watching the morning message anyway. And the analytics happen immediately. So it's a very easy thing to check the next day, go back on, like tomorrow, I could go back and check Tuesday, make sure that everybody kind of checked in a little bit, and it looked really handy. So that's the way I'm going to do it from now on.
No, I love it. I love it. So we've got time for questions and answers. If anybody's have any questions specifically to Canvas Studio, obviously that's what we want to talk about. Or questions you want to ask John, we'd love to open up the floor. So feel free to unmute yourself. I'm going to mute myself. And feel free to ask some questions about Canvas Studio, ask questions directly to John. He's been fantastic for sharing. I really appreciate it, John, by the way.
Oh, no
Love the sweater theme.
Right, the hooded sweatshirt theme and the hat theme. I should make them graph that. That should be a new like off the line math problem for Samuelson's Canvas Studio. And if you have any questions pertaining to the current state of events in our country, I'm sorry, I do not have the answers for those.
Yeah, no, we'll stick to Canvas for the studio for the few minutes.
I have no answers for that, or words basically. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that so I don't ruin the recording.
So any questions? I think Christina, I think potentially you were gonna maybe unmute yourself or unmic. If you weren't, that's okay. I don't mean to call you out.
No, I was just nodding.
Yeah, yes. I'm sure Christina has no questions about Canvas Studio. I mean, I think it's been really helpful. What I used to do, compared to my old workflow, to check and see if students were watching the video, which I do like to see, I would make the video, I would record my video in QuickTime, upload it to YouTube, and then I'd have to wait for YouTube to kind of make it, and then I would embed it into the calendar page. And so now I don't have to do all that. Now I can just, it took a little bit of time. It saved me a lot of time. So that's why I like it. And now that the analytics are there and totally working, I feel like I've got to use that to make attendance easier. So now it's saving me time on that, and it's saving me time on different things. And if someone asked me today to show something, and my coworker Meredith says, make this video, I don't think it doesn't take that much time.
Yeah.
You know,
hey, do you mind sharing your screen again and just putting up the example of your staff watching the 6 Ways to be an Anti-Racist? I think only sure. Because I want to just quickly you click on the insight. We call them analytics. Canvas is calling insights. It's the same terminology. But if you don't mind, share that one real quickly, just so we can kind of look at that again. Like you had mentioned, it saves you time. Love for a teacher to say, well, what do you mean by that, John? And so in this case, John, if this was your class, what would you do? What's the next step?
So let's say I just wanted to check and see if Sarah was attending that. You know, you just kind of have to have that check-in to make sure that they've checked in. So if I looked at this, I could be like, okay, Sarah definitely attended. Let me click on Paul. Paul watched some parts of it, so now he's there. I could also see if this was a video for a lesson and we wanted to go through. I think that Paul was actually probably showing the same thing I did, that if you skip around, it doesn't act like during those little time segments right there, that's parts of the video that he didn't watch. But it would just be simply clicking on the student. That student did not attend that day. This student did. That student did not. This student did.
Okay, so so it won't give you so in this case, you're not looking at it as a list of information. It's more about, you click on the student, you can see quickly if they watch the video. So if you have a class of 25 or 30, then you want to go ahead and click to that. Is that correct?
That's correct, right, it's correct. I just think it's just, and you know what the funny thing is, Chris, that I did notice, like even my test student that, you know, that's in Canvas will show up on there. So like I will show up to watch the video. It's like your whole roster will show up. So it's everybody that's in there. It's everything that I would need to take attendance. And like you said, I have not tried the quizzing feature on watching YouTube videos yet, but now that I kind of have this going, it makes me want to go a little bit, you know, take it another step in 2021.
Awesome. Well, friends, is there anyone who has any questions for John relating to Canvas Studio, or you want to share, you've been using it, or you've come across something that you have a question or comment about, feel free to unmute yourself and we could go ahead and entertain you. And if not, we'll wait just a moment or two. If not, then we'll go ahead and just pause in just a moment.